So the first one is we've got to ask the tough questions. As we think about the fact that, as we think about the statistics that we've looked at, our options are, as Bill said, put our head in the sand, or we've got to engage. We've got to get in the battle. And so I want to give you some questions for how to do this. Now, the good news is, if you're discipling somebody, or if you've got kids, you just get to blame me, right? You just blame me. Well, hey, we had this workshop, and this guy said all these things, so I got to ask these hard questions, right? So just go ahead and blame me, and that'll open the conversation. But we've got to go there. So here's some questions you can use. How are you doing with sexual purity? So with my students, most of them have heard my story, and I just say, hey, this is a big problem for students on campus today. I know even in the church, man, how are you doing with sexual purity? And I've pretty much never had one get mad at me for asking that question. The second one is, when they're probably going to say I'm struggling. So define struggling. In counseling, we use the iceberg illustration. Some of you all may have heard that. First confession, they're probably giving you the tip of the iceberg. So just tend to think about that. If this, if we're fidgeting back and forth, struggle a little bit, think tip of the iceberg. They're probably just getting you a little bit. So we've got to understand next is the history of the struggle. When did it start? What do you look at, and how much time are you looking? Now, these are probing questions, but why do we want to know this? Something you need to know is, well, is this person a 15-year, 4 times a week addict to hardcore pornography, or started a couple years ago, he's looked a couple times? Big difference in how you're going to help that person. So we've got to kind of address the history of the struggle. What are we looking at here? The next one I ask my guys is, what have you done to try and stop? Just try to see, what have they done? Have they read some books, done some small groups? Have they ever told anybody? And then lastly, this is a heart level question, what is leading you to run to porn? So when you think about that question, we're trying to get them beneath the surface, into the heart. What is leading you to go there? Now with this, I want to say, if you are entrusted with somebody's deepest area of shame, man, someone confessing this, that is really hard. I want to challenge you to affirm them, affirm the confession. Offer them hope. There's hope. The gospel is for you. The gospel is for sinners. You get to offer them what I call the Me Too gospel. I just look at my students, I say, me too. I tell them my story. Now, if you've never struggled, great, but there's still some sin in your life, so offer them the Me Too gospel, right? Me too. I'm a sinner. I'm in need of the gospel. I want to help you with this.